Hi everyone, I'm Linda Reimer, one of the librarians at the Southeast Bend County Library. Welcome to Library Connections, our weekly readers, viewers, and listeners advisory video cast. Enjoy. Library Connections number 70. This is the Friday, September 17th, 2021 edition of Library Connections. And since the next Library Connections will be up next Friday, which is the 24th, and the first day of autumn is next Wednesday, the 22nd, happy autumn, happy fall. Cool weather warriors rejoice. And moving right along, Library Connections videos premiere on Facebook Fridays at 1 p.m. and may also be found on the Southeast Bend County Library's YouTube channel. Jumping right in, as usual, with the top 5 fiction bestsellers for this week from the New York Times at number 1. Forgotten in Death by J.D. Robb. This is the 53rd book in the In Death series. The property where a decades-old crime occurred belongs to the homicide detective Eve Dallas's husband. You just know there's going to be drama in that book. Moving on to number 2, Beautiful World, Where Are You? By Sally Rooney. A novelist, a warehouse worker, an editorial assistant, and a political advisor deal with changes. Sounds timely, as the whole world seems to be in a state of change at the moment, but again, I digress. At number 3, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. A battered wife, raised in a violent home, attempts to halt the cycle of abuse. At number 4, Billy Summers by Stephen King. A killer for hire who only takes out bad guys seeks redemption as he does one final job. And at number 5, A Slow Fire Burning by Paula Hawkins. 3 women come under scrutiny when a young man is found gruesomely murdered in a London houseboat. And moving on to the top 5 nonfiction bestsellers for this week. At number 1, American Marxism by Mark R. Levin. The Fox News host gives his take on the Green New Deal, critical race theory, and social activism. At number 2, Countdown Bin Laden by Chris Wallace with Mitch Weiss. The intelligence gathering, security strategizing, and military planning during the final 8 months of the pursuit of Osama bin Laden. At number 3, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. How trauma affects the body and mind, and innovative treatments for recovery. At number 4, Beautiful Country by Quen Julie Wang. A 7-year-old girl and her parents encounter difficulties in New York City when they leave China in the 1990s. And at number 5, This Bright Future by Bobby Hall. The hip-hop recording artist, known as Logic, tells his life story. Our first recommended read of the week is Jerusalem Beach Stories by Iddo Gefen. Publishers Weekly describes the book as being a vigorous, inventive work which will surely fire up readers' neurons. Ideal for fans of Etgar Keret, a debut collection that fuses the humor of everyday life in Israel with technology's challenges and the latest discoveries about the human brain. At once compassionate, philosophical, and humorous, Jerusalem Beach is a foray into the human condition in all its contradictions. Through a series of snapshots of contemporary life in Israel, Gefen reveals a world that's a step from the familiar. A man's grandfather joins an army platoon of geriatrics looking for purpose in old age. A scheming tech startup exposes the dire consequences of ambition in trying to share human memories. An elderly couple searches for a beach that doesn't exist, and a boy mourns his brother's death in an attempt to catch time like flies in his fist. Entirely heartfelt and infused with pathos, Jerusalem Beach is an exploration of both technology and the brain, whether ruminating on the stakes of familial love or pitching the reader headlong into the absurdity of success and failure. Gefen leaves the reader intrigued throughout. Our second recommended read of the week is a mystery. This is the new Lynne Truss novel. It's called Murder by Milk Bottle. The quirky and charming third crime novel from New York Times bestselling author Lynne Truss. In the wake of two extremely high-profile murder cases, and with the summer of 1957 finally winding down, Constable Twitten is eagerly anticipating a quiet spell at work. But his hope for rest is interrupted when he and his colleagues find a trio of bodies, all murdered with the same unusual weapon, a milk bottle. The three victims are seemingly unconnected: a hard-working patrolman, a would-be beauty queen, and a catty BBC radio personality. So Constable Twitten, Sergeant Brunswick, and Inspector Stein are baffled. But with Brighton on high alert and the local newspaper churning out stories of a killer on the loose, the police trio is determined to solve the case and catch the killer. Charming, witty, and full of the joyfully zany characters Truss's readers have come to love, Murder by Milk Bottle will delight old fans and new alike. That one's going on my reading list. And on to our audiobooks of the week. Our first audiobook recommendation for the week is nonfiction. This is brand new, The Authority of the Court and the Perill of Politics by Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer. The audio is read by Jim Sabert. A growing chorus of officials and commentators argues that the Supreme Court has become too political. On this view, the confirmation process is just an exercise in partisan agenda setting, and the jurists are no more than politicians in robes, their ostensibly neutral judicial philosophies mere camouflage for conservative or liberal convictions. Stephen Breyer, drawing upon his experience as a Supreme Court justice, sounds a cautionary note. Mindful of the court's history, he suggests that the judiciary's hard-won authority could be marred by reforms premised on the assumption of ideological bias. The court, having, as Alexander Hamilton observed, no influence over either the sword or the purse, earned its authority by making decisions that have, over time, increased the public's trust. If public trust is now in decline, one part of the solution is to promote better understandings of how the judiciary actually works, how judges adhere to their oaths, and how they try to avoid considerations of politics and popularity. Breyer warns that political intervention could itself further erode public trust. Without the public's trust, the court would no longer be able to act as a check on the other branches of government or as a guarantor of the rule of law, risking serious harm to our constitutional system. So if you're looking to give your brain cells a workout and learn something, check out the new book by Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer. Our second audiobook recommendation for this week is the new novel The Summoning by J.P. Smith. The audio is read by Anne Marie Lee. Every year, as the anniversary of 9/11 inches closer on the calendar, Kit Caprell scans the memorials published in the New York Times. It's a simple thing to look up a name and phone number, to reach out to surviving family members who might still be yearning for a connection with their lost loved one, to offer assistance. After her husband went down in the North Tower, Kit scraped by as an actress, barely supporting herself and her daughter. But now, Zoe is in the hospital, bills are due, and the acting work has dried up. Becoming a medium is almost too easy for someone used to pretending for a living, and desperate clients aren't hard to come by. Now, though, something has changed. The seances Kit holds in her apartment are starting to feel unsettlingly real, and the intriguing man she met at a local bar could be more complicated than he seems. As the voices of the dead grow louder in her head and the walls of her apartment close in, Kit realizes that despite her daughter's absence, she hasn't been quite as alone as she thought. So if you're looking for a supernatural tinged thriller, there's a good one to give a listen to. Our first streaming recommendation for this week is the American Experience documentary, The First. This has just come out, and it focuses on the life and career of the first female Supreme Court Justice, Sandra Day O'Connor, thus the first in the title. Justice O'Connor was confirmed 40 years ago this month, which absolutely blows my mind because I remember when she was confirmed. But anyway, it's a cool documentary. It's produced by Connie Honeycutt and Michelle Ferrari, and it's narrated by the great Kate Burton. For 191 years, the Supreme Court of the United States was populated only by men. When President Ronald Reagan nominated Sandra Day O'Connor as the first female justice in 1981, the announcement dominated the news. Time magazine's cover proclaimed, "Justice at last," and she received unanimous Senate approval. During her more than 2 decades on the Supreme Court, O'Connor was the critical swing vote on cases involving some of the 20th century's most controversial issues, including race, gender, and reproductive rights. And she cast the decisive vote in Bush versus Gore. Based on First, Sandra Day O'Connor, by Evan Thomas, this biographical portrait recounts the life of a pioneering woman who both reflected and shaped an era. So if you like biographical documentaries, check out The First for free through the PBS website or the PBS app on your mobile device or smart TV. Our second streaming recommendation for the week is the now classic film Apollo 13 from 1995. It's directed by Ron Howard and stars Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and Bill Paxton. There's no greater testament to the skill and craft of this 1995 drama from Ron Howard than the fact that he manages to build and sustain nail-biting suspense around an event with a widely known outcome. The Apollo 13 lunar mission in 1970 was aborted after a mechanical failure that put the lives of its 3 astronauts in jeopardy. Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and Bill Paxton project credible professionalism in those roles, finding the fleeting moments to let their understandable fear and frustration blast through. And Oscar-nominated Ed Harris is brilliant as the flight director on the ground, marshaling the minds tasked with bringing their boys home. This is a cool movie. It's a feel-good movie. And I have to say also, as a side note, a viewer's note, I guess a reader's note too, Ron Howard, as you may very well know, I'm sure people above a certain age do, Ron Howard is a former childhood actor as well as a director. And there's a new book coming out about Ron and his brother Clint, also a childhood actor. He was even, Clint that is, was also in an episode of Star Trek, the original series. And the library will be getting it, but I'm afraid I can't remember the title of it right at the moment, so I will put the title of the book at the end of this video so you can check it out and request it if you'd like, and send me an email if any of that is confusing. Our third streaming recommendation for this week is the new TV series Hit and Run, created by Abby Isakoff, Dawn Prestwick, and Laura Raz, and starring Laura Raz, Kellen Ohm, and Maureen Rosenblatt. This one is available just from Netflix. Set in Tel Aviv and New York City, the international mystery thriller Hit and Run was co-created by Laura Raz, who also plays the hero Segev, a semi-retired Special Forces agent who calls on his old contacts when his wife dies in a suspicious accident. Sana Latham plays Segev's ex-girlfriend Naomi, an American journalist who helps him track down the leads to what could be a far-reaching conspiracy. The chase involves several tense and exciting action sequences. The New York Times describes it as having the same frenzied urgency of other exciting Israeli shows. And the Times also notes that the creative team behind Hit and Run is responsible for the hit Israeli action series Fada, which is also available to watch on Netflix. And finally, our Hoopla recommendation for this week is a feel-good film. It's called My Dog Skip. I'm astonished to see that it came out in 2000. I remember seeing it in the movie theaters the year it came out. It's a fun film. It's a slice of life film. It's just one of those feel-good films. The movie stars Kevin Bacon, Diane Lane, and Frankie Muniz, and it's a heartwarming coming-of-age story about a sensitive young Southern boy who learns valuable life lessons with his dog, and you guessed it, the dog is named Skip. So for a feel-good film this weekend, you can't go wrong with My Dog Skip. I know I said I was going to include the information on the book about Ron and Clint Howard at the end of this video, but I changed my mind. I thought it was more appropriate to put it in here just after I mentioned it during the Hoopla recommendation of the week. So the book, which is coming out in October, and the title of which I couldn't remember, is called The Boys, and it's co-authored by the brothers, Ron and Clint Howard. So briefly, let me read you the little overview here. Happy Days, The Andy Griffith Show, Gentle Ben. These shows captivated millions of TV viewers in the 60s and 70s. Join award-winning filmmaker Ron Howard and audience favorite actor Clint Howard as they frankly and fondly share their unusual family story of navigating and surviving life as sibling child actors. So again, the book is called The Boys by Ron and Clint Howard, coming out in October. The publication date is October 15th. We should have it shortly after that date. And I think that's going to be a good one. Have questions about this weekly video cast? Let me know. Send an email to me at reimerl@stls.org and I'll get back to you. And a note on library hours. The library is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. We're open on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and we're closed on Sundays. The library's website is found at ssclibrary.org, and you can find a whole host of information on our website about upcoming events. You can access our catalogs, schedule a curbside appointment, and much more. Again, that's ssclibrary.org. StarCat and its companion app BookMine. StarCat is the catalog of physical library materials available to all card holders of the public libraries in the Southern Tier Library System. STLS encompasses the public libraries in Steuben, Chemung, Yates, Schuyler, and Allegheny counties. StarCat is found online at starcat.stls.org. And the companion app BookMine, which is BOOKMYNE, is available in your App Store. If you'd rather access the catalog through the app, download it from your App Store. The digital catalog and its companion app Libby. The digital catalog is available online at stls.overdrive.com. The digital catalog features eBooks, downloadable audiobooks, and a handful of streaming videos. And if you would rather access the digital catalog and its content through an app, the app is called Libby, Libby. You can download it from your App Store and access the same catalog of items through the app. Hoopla, and of course its companion app, also called Hoopla. The Hoopla catalog features ebooks, comic books, full-length albums, downloadable audiobooks, and streaming videos, including both TV shows and movies. All Hoopla items are available for instant checkout for Southeast Steuben County Library cardholders, with a maximum of 6 checkouts per month. The Hoopla catalog is available online at hoopladigital.com, or you can download the app to your mobile device or smart TV. Communicating with the library. An important thing. If you have questions about library materials or services, you are welcome to go the traditional route and simply give us a call. The library's telephone number is area code 607-936-3713. We have the same phone number we've had for decades, so if you have an old phone book floating around the house, you'll find our number in your phone book too. And you can also connect with the library via social media. The library has pages on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Library blogs. We have 5 of them. We have the Book Club for Adults blog, which is found at ssclbook.club. And you guessed it, that one focuses on the monthly adult book club. We have the Corning NY History blog, which is our local history blog, which is found at corningnyhistory.com. Creation Stationery, our Makerspace blog, found at creationstationery.com. Story Musings, a blog hosted by the library's resident author and head of adult services Michelle Wells, found at storymusing.blogspot.com. And Tech and Book Talk, a readers, viewers, and listeners advisory, which is found at sscltech.com. And here briefly are our references for this week.
And that's the program for this week. I'll be back next week with a new edition of Library Connections. And since my next edition will be after the first day of fall, which is actually this next Wednesday, happy fall for all you cool weather warriors out there, which I have to say includes myself. I love the cooler weather. Have a great week.